All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever sat through a full day of corporate training feeling super productive, only to realize a week later you've forgotten, well, pretty much everything? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. It's a huge sign that the old training playbook is completely broken. So today, we're going to talk about the new playbook, the one that's totally changing how we learn at work.
I mean, we've all been there. You spend the entire day in a session, you're taking notes, you're engaged, and then a week goes by and it's just a blur. So what's going on? Why does this happen? Well, it's not just you. There's actually a scientific reason behind it. And believe me, it is costing companies an absolute fortune.
Okay, take a look at this chart. This is the harsh reality. It's called the forgetting curve. And honestly, it's kind of brutal. I mean, look at these numbers. Within just 24 hours, we lose up to 70%. 70% of what we just learned. And by the end of 1 week, that number shoots up to a staggering 90%. Think about that. Companies are pouring millions of dollars into training, and almost all of it is just evaporating. It's literally like pouring water into a leaky bucket. So that brings us right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? The old ways of doing things, the traditional training methods, they just aren't cutting it anymore for the modern workforce. Let's dig in and break down exactly why they're falling so short.
You know the classic model, right? Get everyone into a conference room for 8 straight hours. That was designed for a totally different era. Today's workforce? We're hybrid, we're remote, we're juggling a million things at once. These super rigid, one-and-done events, they're not just expensive and a nightmare to coordinate, they just don't hold our attention. They don't fit how we work anymore.
Okay, so clearly we need a smarter way forward. We need an approach that actually works with our modern habits, not against them. And that's where something called blended learning comes in.
So what exactly is blended learning? Well, first off, it's not about getting rid of human interaction, not at all. It's about making it better. It's the strategic mix of that personal, in-person touch with the awesome on-demand flexibility you get from mobile. You put them together and you create a whole, complete learning journey. And this is a really fundamental shift in how we think about training. We're moving away from the old way, the one-time information dump, and we're moving toward this idea of a continuous journey. The whole goal is to build an ecosystem for learning, one that's flexible, super engaging, and most importantly, designed to make knowledge actually stick. All right, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but does it really work? Well, the data is in, and it's a huge yes. The numbers don't lie, so let's look at some hard stats that show the real-world impact of doing it this way.
Let's kick things off with motivation. Get this. A massive 70% of employees say they feel more motivated when their training is right there on their phone. It just makes sense, right? It meets them where they are, fitting into those little pockets of time during the day instead of being this huge disruption.
And, that motivation, it leads directly to better retention. Mobile learning is basically our secret weapon against that pesky forgetting curve we talked about. By just pushing out these little bite-sized refreshers, smartphones can boost how much people remember by up to 45%. I mean, that's a huge win. Okay, and what about just finishing the training in the first place? Well, when you deliver content in these short, mobile-friendly chunks, completion rates skyrocket to 80%. Just compare that to the usual 20% for old-school e-learning. It's a no-brainer, really. You can't remember what you never finished. And listen, this isn't just some academic theory. This has a real measurable impact on the bottom line. Look at these examples. AT&T, they cut their training costs by 25% just by shifting to mobile. Walmart saw a 20% jump in sales productivity. Another giant retailer boosted participation by 40%. These are real, tangible business results we're talking about.
So I think the why is pretty clear at this point, right? Now let's get into the fun part, the how. How do you actually build a strategy that gets you these kinds of results? Well, it all boils down to a really simple 3-part playbook.
And this framework is super easy to remember. It's just before, during, and after. That's it. The whole idea is to use mobile to turn that single one-off training event into a complete learning journey. So let's break down each of those steps. Okay, step 1, before the session. The learning journey actually starts before anyone even walks into the room. You use mobile to get everyone warmed up. Send out short little intro videos, maybe an infographic with key facts, or even a quick pre-quiz. This way, everyone shows up with a baseline of knowledge, which makes the live session so much more productive. All right, step 2, during the session. Now, this is where that mobile device, which is usually seen as a distraction, actually becomes your best engagement tool.
You can run live polls to get real-time feedback, push out extra materials right when they're needed, or even gamify the whole thing with fun quizzes and challenges. It keeps everyone locked in and actively participating instead of just passively listening. And finally, step 3, after the session. Now, this is the most critical part. This is where you actually win the fight against the forgetting curve. After the event is over, you use mobile to deliver the steady drip of reinforcement. Quick knowledge checks, digital job aids they can pull up on the spot, follow-up micro lessons. This is the step that makes all that great learning actually stick.
So when you put all these pieces together, the before, the during, and the after, you end up with something that's way bigger than just a better training program. What you're really doing is starting to build a true culture of continuous learning inside your organization.
There's a quote that just captures this whole idea perfectly. It says, "Learning is no longer a one-time event, but a continuous journey integrated into the flow of work." And that's exactly it. It's not something you go do once a quarter anymore. It's this ongoing thing that happens on your laptop, in a live session, and yeah, right there in your pocket.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Is your company just training employees in these one-off events that get forgotten? Or are you actually building a true learning culture? Because the playbook for how to do it, it's right here. The choice is yours.